Hi, this is the service manual for this VOR indicator. So let's have a look on the schematics and the block diagram, and after that we can do a teardown of this instrument. So this is the original service manual. It is complete. So this one is the 485 AC, that is to say this one here. So we have on this page on the left the different versions. So we have on this page the block schematic. This is the most important diagram of this service manual. So let's have a look on this thing. The composite signal is on the left here. The composite signal is fed to two different sections. On the top here we have the VOR section, and on the bottom here we have the ILS section. The composite signal for the VOR operation is shown here. If you have seen my previous video, there is a variable phase signal at 30 Hz, which is represented here. And superposed to this signal, there is a subcarrier frequency at 9960 Hz, which is frequency modulated by the reference signal. The variable phase signal here is fed to a bandpass filter. This switch permits to activate the test mode. So in normal mode, the switch is on this position here. At the output of this bandpass filter, we have the 30 Hz signal with the variable phase relative to the reference phase signal. The reference phase demodulation is performed on the top circuit here. First, the subcarrier is fed to a bandpass filter centered to 9960 Hz. This signal is fed to a discriminator, which is centered to 9960 Hz. Then the modulated signal is extracted. The demodulated signal is fed to another 30 Hz bandpass filter. So at the output of this bandpass filter, we have a 30 Hz signal, which represents the reference phase signal. This signal is fed to the synchro resolver, which works at 30 Hz. The synchro resolver permits to add a phase from 0 to 360 degrees. So then the output here is amplified and is fed to this comparator, which permits to have a square signal at 30 Hz. And this square signal is a reference of a synchronous detection. So the input of the analog chopper is a variable phase signal here. The output of the analog chopper is fed to an average detector, which is a low-pass filter actually. The DC signal at the output of the average detector is proportional to the difference of phase between the reference signal here and the variable phase signal, and this is fed to the pointer. ILS mode is not complicated. The composite signal in ILS mode is a sum of a 90 Hz signal and a 150 Hz signal. This composite signal is fed to two bandpass filters, one centered to 90 Hz and the second one centered to 150 Hz. These two signals are rectified using these two diodes here. At this point there is a voltage which depends on the amplitude of both signals, and then this signal is fed also to the average detector and the vertical pointer. We can have a look on the discriminator. The variable frequency signal here with the mean frequency of 9960 Hz is fed to a comparator, and then at each rising edge of the comparator, a pulse is generated with a fixed width here. And this rectangular signal is fed to a low-pass filter, and at the output of the low-pass filter we have the demodulated signal. It is something which is often used when you want to translate a frequency into a voltage. This is done by a 555 here, and following this monostable there is a bandpass filter which is centered to 30 Hz. This manual is quite complete. There are a lot of things inside, the adjustments, etc. The test, of course, of this unit. So we can have a look on the schematic. Okay, the schematics is here. It is quite complex, but nothing special. At the input, we have the common collector transistor, which permits to have the composite signal here with a low impedance source. And then we have the bandpass filter we have seen on the blocks diagram. Okay, this band pass filter is centered to 9960 Hz. And then we have the 555, which permits to have the demodulation of the frequency modulation signal. And then we have a second 30 Hz band pass filter in order to have a clean signal at the output here. And then the signal is fed to the resolver. At the output of the resolver here, we have the same signal as the input, but with the variable phase, which depends on the position of the resolver here. So then this signal is fed to a comparator here. You can see the positive feedback. And then this signal is fed to the phase detector here, which uses this 4066. The input of the phase detector is a variable phase signal. The variable phase signal is the output of this bandpass filter. The output of the phase detector is fed to a low-pass filter. This permits to activate the needle. You can have a look also, if you want, on the ILS. The schematic diagram is not complicated. Let's have a look inside this instrument. So there are little mechanical problems inside this instrument. First, if you have seen my previous video, there is a problem of frictions in order to rotate this scale here. And this knob is also a little bit damaged. Normally there are three positions, a center position like this. And there should be a push button here. But this one doesn't work properly. There should be a spring, but the spring seems dead. And the third position is when you pull this button. So the normal position is in the middle, but actually it doesn't work very well. Have a look inside to see if we can repair this thing. Okay, so this is a nice construction with different PCBs here. So as you can see, this thing has been repaired. This trimmer has been changed, but you can see that it is not very nice. So we can see the resolver here. It is bigger than the resolver which works at 400 Hz. So this one works at 30 Hz. I think I can remove this. We have the DC motor here in order to activate this scale here. As I said, there should be a problem with this thing. So as you can see, I don't know what is the problem, because normally the normal position is on the center, in the middle of the two switches. And okay, so the spring actually is here, just between the plate and the gear here. But actually the switch is already on that position, but the switch should be off here. I think there is just a problem probably with the adjustment of these two limits here. I will try to adjust these mechanical limits. I hope I have the correct Allen key. For the moment it is not the case. Okay, I don't have the correct Allen key. Okay, so the best was to change a little bit the position of the switch instead of moving this mechanical limit, because I don't have the Allen key for that. So it was possible to move a little bit this. So now you can see. Yes, it is not perfect. Okay, so you can hear the click. So like this it is perfect. If the switch doesn't move when I screw these screws here. Okay. Seems okay now. In this position the right switch here is activated. On that position none of the two switches is activated, and if I push the button here, and this switch is activated. Let's have a look on the electronic boards. It should be possible to retrieve the function of the board using the service manual. So we have a quad comparator here. We have a NOR gate, I think here. This thing is a dual op-amp, LM358, and this is a dual D flip-flop. A5 is this one, normally. Okay, so we have here the 4066, which is used for the synchronous detection. So this is the board A4. The board A4 is used for the ILS function. This board permits to have the two filters, 90 Hz and 150 Hz, the bandpass filters here. And this is the board A3. You can recognize the 555 here, so this permits the demodulation of the frequency modulated subcarrier. So this is the board A3. Okay, so this is effectively the reference board. It is this one, which permits the demodulation here. So this is this one, and the bandpass filter also. This is the board A2. So you can see that this resistor and this one also has dissipated a large amount of power. You can see that the FR4 is a little bit brown on these areas here. And the last one is normally the power supply board, probably. And not only, because we have effectively a regulator here, 7815, but we have also a NOR gate here, a NAND gate. This is a 555. So this is the board A1. Okay, we can see the board A1 here. This is the power supply, effectively. There is a torque limiter attached to the gear of the motor here, and it seems that this screw is a little bit unscrewed. So this is why sometimes the motor has some problems to activate the mechanical stuff. So let's have a look. I have added a very small wire like this here. I don't know if it can focus. Don't know if we can see on the camera. So this permits to compress a little bit the spring here. So the spring is not very young and it is a little bit detuned. let's see if it is better. I have connected this instrument to the Rohde-Schwarz generator, which is just below the indicator here. You can see it is better now. This is the normal mode. And this is the automatic radial centering. Okay. It is not perfect. Okay. You can see that we are still in the limiting torque condition. I have placed a second wire in order to increase the friction between the motor and the gear. This is the normal mode. That seems better. You can see on the oscilloscope three signals. So the signal on the top is a signal which is present at the output, TZ signal, at the output of the phase detector. The square signal in blue is the reference signal, which is the output of the comparator here. The signal in yellow is a signal which comes from the Rohde-Schwarz generator. It is a reference signal, and we can see that in order to have the vertical needle centered on this indicator, we need actually a quadrature between the reference signal in violet here, which comes from the generator, and the signal which comes from the demodulation, because actually in order to have 0, we should multiply a sine by a cosine. So this is why you have a quadrature circuit here, just following the resolver. This permits to have 0 volt DC at the output of the phase detector when the two input signals are in phase, the reference and the variable phase. This was Teardon and some experiments around this VOR ILS indicator. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.